Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to the Brass Ring Media Flagship Podcast, the free podcast. Once a week here is Brass Ring Media for Thursday, December 7th, 2023. What's going on? I'm Zach Haydorn. That is Tyler Sage. Tyler, man, what's up?
Hey, not much. We're back at it. Thursday edition. Our original, almost original time slot. So good to be back.
Man, we had a good run at this old time slot for a couple years there. So it is good to be back, and man, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to spend a lot of time on this show talking last night's AEW Dynamite and kind of the state of the state on AEW, and then for members this week, we will preview the NXT Deadline show that's coming up on Saturday night. So if you aren't a member, you should become one. It's $4. $4 only gets you a vast array of content all throughout the week. Some written stuff at our Substack page, a free members-only podcast, access to our Discord community, which is rapidly growing. You get access to it all for $4. And then, other odds and ends and crazy stuff that'll start, after the holidays too, which we're pretty excited about. So you can go for $4 there. If you just want to ease in, you can subscribe for us free. Subscribe to us for free on YouTube and on Substack. We got free content that goes up there, including this show. Usually this show is late Friday mornings, so around 12 Eastern, 11 Central. We are pivoting this week due to some scheduling stuff. I am taking my kids to Disney World tomorrow. So, throw one back for me this weekend when you think about me just going crazy at Disney World. But that's why we are getting things done here a little bit early.
Yeah, we'll probably not do a recap of NXT because of that. I think we should tell people, I don't know, that's up to you, but you probably don't want to deal with that. You're probably not going to be watching that live on Saturday when you are, meeting Elsa or whatever you're going to be doing.
I think there's going to be a lot of media Elsa. Yes, that will take priority over NXT Deadline. We'll catch the show. Hopefully, I can. One of us will post some written content about it. We'll definitely cover it in some fashion. But yes, it might not be with our traditional review show, but we'll get it to you some other way for sure. Hello to everybody that's joined us live in our chat. Matt is there, just.
What's he going to say next?
As usual.
What's he going to say?
Mid MJF. We got Zach in there. What's going on, Zach? And Tracy there too. Tracy, hello. Thank you guys all for being here and everybody else who's joining us live. This show, if you are not able to watch live on a weekly basis on YouTube, goes up as podcast right after, about, 30, 40, maybe 50 minutes after we get this up as a podcast. So you can download that, take us to work, take us on the treadmill or wherever you want to bring us along. You can find us wherever your podcasts are found for you. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and any other weird podcast app that's out there. We are on it. So with that said, get your questions in. If you want to drop them in the chat, that's cool. We will answer as many as we can throughout our free show here. And let's start by talking about the main event from last night. Christian Cage beating Adam Copeland with the shot heard around the world from Nick Wayne's mother. She turns on Adam Copeland and hits Adam Copeland with the TNT Championship, and thus leading to Christian Cage beating Adam Copeland to retain the TNT Championship. Tyler, I am real curious as to what you thought of not just the match and not just the angle, but just the whole presentation of that main event on this week's show. So you take the floor. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Where are you at?
Sorry, I was half reading comments as well because they're flying in. So my take on the show overall, or the main event of the show?
The main event of the show.
Everything else. Yeah, I mean, it was nice that it was subdued and it could have been more over the top. Oh no, I'm just kidding. It was a classic, which is fine. You are to expect that. And for the overall story, it makes sense to kind of finish this at the World's End pay-per-view. But it also can be for, Adam Copeland needs backup because he can't take on everybody by himself. So you get him and the baby faces a win again, but not have him have that TNT title, which I don't think he needs. So, the whole Wayne story arc in AEW is not tremendously compelling to me. The players involved, what's her name? Stacey.
Oh my gosh. Someone help us out in the chat. What's Nick Wayne's mom's name?
But her and then Nick, I don't think has he talked on AEW TV?
Like he's had like a couple vignettes, but that Shayna Wayne.
So's Ness. But yeah, I mean, it's totally fine. This is exactly what I thought would happen. And WWE does that all of the time, and it works for the most part. So I don't want to be like too negative on it. Like it just like juxtaposed to the tournament stuff was an interesting thing. That's why, to compare it in that way. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. Christian looks like a uber chicken shit heel, so that's always good. And Copeland did not win the TNT title. So those two things alone, I'm okay with it. It just has kind of replaced the MJF. When MJF was gone, after he laid down for Wardlow, and it was uncertain if he would be back, Christian took over that spot as heel and just ripping on people, being the outrageous heel. And he's now taken fully the MJF finish of a match as well from that era. So I think that's an interesting take that he's filled that void completely now. But yeah, it was fine. I like the show. I'd give it a B last night, and I don't think the main event helped that tremendously, but it is what it is. It was two big names, a disputed finish that you would expect. So yeah, mid.
Mid. Yeah, I'm there. I'm right there with you. The Shayna turn thing was, you could definitely see that coming, but that's not a bad thing. I don't think that I know some people can get on that, but that's certainly not going to be me. I think, the whole angle so far has been, building to this being a chapter with when Shayna goes with her son, especially after Adam Copeland obliterates Nick Wayne with a concerto 5 feet away from her, if that. So this totally made sense. And I think even though you could foreshadow it quite a bit, and many people did, it's a solid next chapter. So I don't have any problem with, with them going this route. And I think, Christian Cage playing off of Shayna Wayne will be an interesting addition to that whole act and that whole thing. I also think that, you extend this a little bit further, and the question I have is who are going to be the baby faces? Are you going to do Darby and Sting again and have some kind of some kind of tables match or something like that? I mean, I just don't know if it's not Darby and Sting, they're the only ones that have a real, connection to this particular feud. So, and they don't have anything else, they don't have anything else on tap for that pay-per-view. So it's kind of I kind of think we're going back. I think we're going back to that trios match again, for better or worse. What do you think?
Yeah, I was trying to run it through my head. I mean, when did the news drop that Jack Perry was trademarking the name Jungle Boy, right? So that tells me something. Maybe he's back. And if you're Tony Khan, are you putting him full babyface treatment? Because I know I would cheer for Jungle Boy when he comes back as a character.
Well, so how does he come back though? Is he back on Christian's side, and then this continues again, even longer?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to think of anyone that's interacted with Christian. And Nick Wayne, it's really nobody but Darby, right? Except for Jungle Boy. He hasn't interacted with Nick Wayne, but there's really no other people unless you just want to be hey, I'm Adam Page, I got nothing to do. You want to team up, Adam Copeland? Which is fine, that's wrestling. But so unless you do something like that where, we have 2 more episodes of Dynamite. So 4 episodes of TV, is that right?
4 episodes of TV. Yeah. Yep.
So you can easily get, 5 with Collision this week, right? You could easily get a story where someone helps Copeland. And I would prefer that, honestly, because the babyfaces won the trios match, right, at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think that. So to have them just win again doesn't feel like a solid end of the story. So maybe having him with somebody else, you could tell that story. So I don't know who it would be, but from past context of who's had beef with Christian, it's really been that. And who do you take the TNT title off of? Starks?
He took it off of Luchasaurus, technically.
Yeah, took it off of Starks or off of
Dark? Off of Luchasaurus, technically.
Well, yeah, but who did Luchasaurus take it off of?
Starks. I think Ricky Starks, okay. Maybe.
So just let us know if that's wrong.
I think it was Ricky Starks.
Yeah, it seems right. And then he turned, but we could be wrong. But anyway, so he's not going to come and help Copeland. So it's a little bit muddled in that capacity. Like they probably should have had the singles match and then done the trios match. So, but it's kind of by the book there. So,
yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think. It looks like they're going to some kind of trios match because I don't think they're unless they just run back like, Copeland and Christian again, like
in a cage or something,
in a cage or like a TLC match or something like that, for the TNT championship. But if you do that, then you have to put the TNT championship on Copeland, and I don't know about that move. It's not terrible, but it's like, boy, I think you just really kind of define him down,
Yeah. If you're him, like, would you want that at all?
No,
like, no. I'd rather not have any title in AEW than have like a TNT title run.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
If you're like a legend, if you're literally a Hall of Famer at the biggest company in the world.
So I kind of think that's where they might be going too, because the trios match just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And here, you can. I mean, it writes itself. Copeland versus Cage. You do it in the match that they helped make famous. With the tables, ladders, and chairs match, or something, something to that effect. And on you go. Copeland. I'll tell you. Like again, I want to be perfectly clear to everybody listening. I think that the main event was effective last night. It was a fun watch. Crowd was into it. They had a decent match, and the finish was what it needed to be. Like a thumbs up for me on it. Like, just want to be clear. Copeland, though, it's still like surreal seeing him in AEW. Like he feels like what what Sting felt like in TNA back in the day. Like you have this like huge star that is getting paid a lot of money, but is also like playing down to the promotion that he's in. And that just, I don't know about you, man, but I just get that vibe when I watch Copeland, that he's like almost like that he should be somewhere else, is what I like feel when I watch it. And I think he does a good job, and he says the right things, but there's something about his presence there that just makes me go, oh man, like this is like a major league pitcher, mowing down, single A batters in the minor leagues. Like it's just, I don't mean that as like a knock on everybody else. I'm using that as a way to illustrate he just looks out of place still. And I don't know if that's ever gonna. It seemed like it pivoted faster for the other WWE guys, like Jon Moxley, easy transition. Jericho, easy transition. Like, those guys all kind of just fell into it, and then just were AEW guys. But I feel like with Adam Copeland, you're still like, oh, there's that WWE guy. It's weird seeing him in this new environment. So maybe that's just me. Where are you at on Copeland right now, and his spot and your comfortability with him in AEW right now?
Yeah, I'm similar, but for different reasons, I guess. Me and you were both on the record of saying that, I wouldn't sign him if I was Tony Khan, for kind of this reason, right? And all those other guys, Jericho had a lot more to give. He had a legitimate world title reign. He was having some high quality matches for a guy in his late 40s at the time when the company started. Moxley, still in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Punk had been gone for a long time, came over, was fresh and exciting. Cage it was kind of like this when he came, and then he had a character change, and that helped.
Yep.
So it feels like that sort of issue of like, he's just Edge, and he's more of a legend to the casual fan base than Christian is, right? So it's harder. It's like if I don't know who's like a tier below Steve Austin, Undertaker, HBK, Triple H, whatever. Let's say Triple H was not in power and he could still wrestle, and he came over and was like hitting people with sledgehammers, right? It would feel like a weird, watered down version of this like legend. It just doesn't feel right being in that capacity, right? He's like a step above Sabu doing crazy moves on the indie scene, but it feels like that equivalent of like being like a mid-tier legend to people that hardcore fans to then doing small indie shows is like that for Edge and a guy like Triple H if he had no other business behind the scenes, right? It just doesn't feel right. He needs a character change to make it feel like this is his AEW run, why he's here, what he's doing. So the faster the better. Obviously getting him and Christian away from each other as well will help that. If he takes on a Jay White, that would feel fresh and exciting. And or whatever. Ospreay comes in, they battle. He has an okay match with him, that sort of stuff. Do the Jericho route, right? Put yourself with good dance partners that can make you look good and tell interesting stories where you can win, get a big win, solidify yourself as like a top guy still, and do things. So
do you what do you think the rating will be for this? Like I was watching it and I was thinking one of two things. Like it first it hit me, it was like, damn, this is in Canada, like this is a hot match, the audience is into it. And then another side of me was like, man, but like, is this like Edge and Christian, like their prime together was like 15 years ago. Like there are people who are watching AEW right now that were young babies when they were doing their thing as a tag team. Like, so, I'll be really interested to see those ratings come in, to see like what kind of draw this match specifically was able to pull in, because, I think you've got like an inherent, a little bit of an inconsistency there where you have like, for everybody that knows, okay, it's a good idea. But if you have no idea, like the backstory, and you didn't go back and watch like, anything like it still made sense from an AEW standpoint and in the canon of AEW, they told a story that can live there. And that was smart. But, they also leaned on like the historic nature of it. And, that's how Edge talked about it too. And it's like, man, you just don't know like how many of your fans were, watching wrestling when Edge and Christian were a thing. And so is the nostalgia really all that real? I don't know. We'll see. I don't think the ratings have come in yet.
No, I was looking for while you were talking. I think the network ratings are in, but I cannot find cable ratings.
I don't think they're in.
So
usually
anyway,
it's like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, so should be in soon. But yeah, I mean, what was it, 840, 850 something last week?
Mm-hmm.
So trying to think, it's usually the week before. I would say, I was pretty even on both these. Like I liked the main event last week for the tournament standpoint, and then this was a good show, right? A B show. And so yeah, probably similar. I mean, hopefully you would hope that the number would go up. I don't know. Does Canada come into those ratings as well? I don't know that off the top of my head. Is that a US?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
But there's still should be. You would hope to get like 870 plus if you're AEW, but I don't think it's like it's going to be in the range of 800,000 to 900,000. So you're just treading water. You need more Ric Flair to make the shows pop. I think if you're putting on. That's a joke based on our SD Scoops talk from Tuesday. So that don't clip that. But
Hardy har. Yes, you're right. This would have made it all the better. The match was missing the kazoo. See, Matt,
and that the glasses.
Yes, and the 5-second pose. But again, if you're 16 years old right now and you're listening to this, you have no idea what we're talking about unless you have combed through the WWE Network to find Edge and Christian stuff. This joke doesn't land, and shame on you 16-year-olds. You go back and get your history right. But this is the kind of quote or kind of comment I'm talking about where it's like, that's funny as hell, but like maybe not to people who haven't seen Edge and Christian and have no idea what a 5-second pose really is. You talked a little bit about Nick Wayne. He is on my list of things to talk about here.
Okay.
Here's the thing with Nick Wayne. And there are some people in the chat, wink, wink, Zach Barber, that are not going to like what I'm about to say, but Nick Wayne needs like the Dominic Mysterio treatment in AEW. Like he just has to have like more of a personality behind him. Like it's like he kind of just is there and he's kind of moping around and he's like kind of doing his thing and like, you know, I find myself almost feeling bad for him, like being like, man, this guy's just getting just abused at the hands of Christian Cage, rather than I hate this guy and I want to see him get beat up, or like he's that kind of participant in angles with with Christian Cage. So he's a real, I think, tough putt right now for AEW, because what makes that guy currently is his in-ring. Like his in-ring, he's such a great athlete in the ring. He can do crazy high flying spots, and really like you can't do any of that, or you shouldn't as a heel. So I want to see him like get more heat for the group, or just be like a side player that's relevant instead of somebody that just stands around. Because I think there's a good chance starting next week on Dynamite that Shayna Wayne, his mom, is more of a heat magnet than Nick is at this point. And I don't think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I agree. Everything you're saying. I mean, it's easy. Like him in the ring is what has gotten him over up to this point. It's why he's got a contract at 16 and then worked like the day he turned 18 in AEW, right? And to not do that is a choice, certainly. And we're not through the end of it, so we don't know if it's a bad choice, but his role in this group it reminds me of a Hook position, but with less hype behind it. So it's like a worse version of Hook, and that did not work out for Hook. So yeah, I agree 100%. And yeah, when his mom kisses Christian, and it's going to be the best. So yeah, instantly, like, what does he do there then? Like, does it give him the opportunity ultimately to turn on his mom and his stepdad in storyline? That's interesting. And then he gets with Darby, and then he can do all those high spots. Like, I like all that in the long run.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, have him be a dastardly Christian like heel in the meantime, and have him get the heat, get him super over as a punk kid who is the spawn of Satan and Christian, and like does everything like he should be coming out with a turtleneck and like all the mannerisms, all that stuff, and be like a little clone, and have that be like what he'll say about him, that he's nothing but a Christian clone, and he should do the spot, like, jump over the rope and do the Christian spot where he jumps over the rope and punches you, like all that, like hit the kill switch would be his finisher. He should just be Christian Jr. And that's like, he works for Christian, like he defends the title for Christian, all that stuff, right? It's so there and like such a heat magnet, and it'd be great. And just like kind of, it's the Christian show, which is fun, but there's so much more potential there. And I don't know if that's like the counter argument here would be, is this the bloodline? Are we in inning 2, right, of this story? And that's what I'm talking about, is like the 7th inning stretch of it, maybe. But I think there's some likely fun stuff to do with that. But yeah,
he totally has that. How he hasn't had a turtleneck on yet is beyond me. That's such a miss. That's such a miss.
Like he could like reveal it too. Like have like a big puffy jacket and then like reveal that he's got the turtleneck.
And shit, then sell him on AEW shop or whatever the hell it's called. I'm sure there'd be people ready to get a Christian turtleneck out there. Look, Tony Khan, we just made you $1 million in merch sales. So we'll be looking for
just make it like
click subscribe, okay, Tony?
Yeah. It can be like a dickie. Like it's a t-shirt, but it has just an attachment of a turtleneck. So you can wear like a regular Christian shirt, but you look like you have a turtleneck on.
And yeah, exactly. Here, so I want to get to it. I want to pull up a comment here, because you guys are just killing it in the chat. Zach in Texas, Zach Barber, Nick Wayne is very good at being an unlikable punk. He's an in-ring prodigy. So here's the thing, like, he's an in-ring prodigy, yes, but like that very, very much is exactly what I'm talking about. Like that runs completely counter to what you're trying to build with him on a personality side of things. Like you can't lean into the like. Look, if you're out there and you're calling Nick Wayne, an 18-year-old prodigy, and he's flipping around and he's doing all these crazy high spots. I mean, like that's like irresponsible heel work. Like not only does it not get you heat, so you're kind of failing in your role, but it kills your babyface opponent at the same time. Just completely like flip that's on its side. So like, you can like the part of the heat in calling him a prodigy is like almost like not showing it. Like you want to call him the prodigy and then have him be a punk kid and have people hate him because, is he really a prodigy? Because like he calls himself this stuff and never shows it, a la Dominic. Like,
yeah, or go full Mick Foley ECW where you're just doing like headlocks for 20 minutes.
Yes, exactly. Like you have to I think you have to understand where you are and like what your role is here. And so I hope, look, Nick Wayne's a hell of a wrestler. He's going to be around wrestling for years. And he's going to, if we do this show, we're still doing the show in 20 years. And I hope we are. I'm sure he's going to be somebody that we're still talking about. Like he's got a long future. But for this angle and this story, like I really think you need him to be like the opposite of a heavy, like you need him to assume that role, and the time will come for him to like do the flips and do the dives and wrestle amazing matches. That will come sooner than later. But I think the more you do now on the personality side of things, the better that's going to pay off for you in the end, and the better that it's going to work for the storyline right now, I think.
Yeah.
And dude, anything else on this? We talked about where it's going. We talked about the match. Like where else can we take this conversation? Do you have anything else to say, a la Christian Copeland?
No, not right now. I mean, fun to wrestle this in Canada. I think AEW in general is like a top level thing, could do a better job. I mean, I understand why you want to do it, but the story was definitely put on hold and then kind of reheated in the microwave to get to this match to happen in Canada. So it's like, do I love that as a consistent basis that they do a lot? No. And I think that hurt the story a little bit, not doing this a little sooner. And it's now going to make the third match at the pay-per-view feel, like we talked about, the order of things is off to make it happen in Canada. And I think this match would have popped wherever it was going to be.
Fair point. All right. So some other stuff that I want to get to. We got a Gates of Agony fan. Tyler, I didn't know that you love Gates of Agony so much.
That was before. You can please pull up the other one. But ahead of that, by Ryan.
Oh, I missed this one. Okay.
So we did a show called Podcast of Honor. You can find it in the archives on PW Torch. Ryan and I did. And we interviewed Moses and Khan. And I thought they were both great. I really enjoyed their work at the time. They were working with Shane Taylor Enterprises.
Promotions? Shane Taylor Promotions?
Yes, STP, yeah. Not that STP, but yes. And I thought that they were both a great tag team, especially Bishop Khan now. And I told them they both would be Hall of Famers one day off air, I think. And we'll see if that happens. I don't know if any promoter believes that, but me at the time. But yeah, so it was not really a Gates of Agony thing. It was more of a ROH at the time thing. So to clarify.
So there, Ryan.
I did say it. So
hey, you know what? You're on the record, and didn't they just join like the House of Torture or something like that?
I don't know. I'm not following Japan. Current Ring of Honor.
Hopefully not for you, because that's not joining the House of Torture in New Japan's probably not a sign that you're on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
Yeah, good thing there's enough Hall of Fames. I didn't say which Hall of Fame.
That's true. Yes, yes. The Ring of Honor Hall of Fame's a thing, and what else? I mean, they've got like the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, Cauliflower. Yeah, you got like a lot of chances. You got lots of chances for that.
So we'll see.
All right. Last night, so we got okay. where are you at on MJF? Like, where are we on him these days? Like, I am so back and forth on what I'm thinking when I'm watching him either wrestle or cut a promo or doing backstage stuff. Like last night, like, okay, and I say that, but let me take a step back before I go further. For MJF to be like a strong babyface, he had to find a way to thread like the needle on him being a total jerk and him, like being able to carry an air of arrogance around him and to keep his snark. And he needed to keep all of that. Like, because that's what like got him over as big as he was as a heel. And so I don't think good babyface turns are something where you just blow up your personality and completely change. Like rarely does that work. I mean, look back at like Randy Orton. I'm not pulling something 20 years ago, but Randy Orton like 2004. Like he was this arrogant, heel in Evolution. And then the next day he's this like sympathetic fighting, babyface. Just didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. And it didn't work. And I applaud MJF because I think he recognizes that and hasn't ditched all the, all that stuff that I just talked about, like all like the heel kind of things that would make anybody a heel, but he is in a rare position to use those as a babyface because the crowd loves him. And so I props on that. Like, I think that's good recognition to not get rid of what got you to the dance. However, he is so hit or miss to me, man, in terms of like landing the nuance there. And I thought last night when he interrupted Adam Page, like he just came across as like a total jerk. And like, it wasn't nuanced enough where it was like, you knew this guy was a good guy. He was just being like a jerk to poor old Adam Page. And like, I just found myself going, man, like, that was not a likable promo. And that wasn't a likable, promo from a heel-ish babyface either. Like he just came across as looking like a jerk. And then, like not 2 segments later, you are out there and you're supposed to feel sympathy because he gets attacked by, the devil worshiper people. And so they're just not there yet with him as babyface. They have not found a way to, maintain what brought him to this level of stardom on the babyface side. It's like they're there sometimes. They hit sometimes, they hit other times, but they miss times too. And I thought this week was a miss. And on top of that, inconsistent with what they asked you to do around MJF later in the show. So, man, I don't know what to think. Like, and I think, and I'll end this all by saying, I think he is, less over because of it. And that's not great.
Yeah. I mean, micro, right? If we're to analyze MJF current day, what's he like as a heel? Is he a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10? Like he's got some bad, like instincts wise, like he's occasionally goes a little too far and it kind of kills the segment. So that's why he's not a 10 out of 10 heel. As a face, is he like a 4 or like a 5? Like he is like dead average, not like a mid joke here, but like his instincts, right? That's what I'm talking about. Like, we talk about Moxley all the time, having good instincts for like what works in professional wrestling today for his character, right? He typically does not like have a promo where it's like, what the hell was Moxley talking about? Or anything like that. Or like, oh, is he like you always know, like, hey, for some reason, we're supposed to think he's a heel in this moment. We don't know why, because it doesn't make any sense, but Moxley is like doing his best to try and get you to boo him as a heel, right? And MJF as a babyface is just not there yet. His instincts are just not on point. And I think we can say with all certainty that the turn has not been good for his character, right? And this story, I mean, it's been over 3 months, right? Because he's been a babyface since what? Mid-August?
I'd say yes, since
early August.
So
yeah. So like that transition happened slowly, but it's just not working, and it has lowered the appeal of the character because you don't know where you're going to get. And then on that segment, again, to compare it to WWE to see like what works to a general audience and what works for this sort of character development, which is what the company does best compared to AEW, is like, if you want to do that with MJF, Matt cracking me up in the if that was in WWE, he would have done the exact same thing to a R-Truth or a Tozawa, like someone who's being stupid and is like the lovable goof. And if you're like, hey man, I don't know what's going on here, I got to go out and be serious and like kind of be a jerk to them, like works in that capacity that MJF's trying to do. Not Adam Page, who, like, if you love Adam Page, he's like your number one guy in the whole company, right? Like, not someone to like just target for like almost no reason and like get the sympathy and then get sympathy later, like you said. So wrong choice on that front on who to do it to if you're going to do it. Like, it should have been Nick Nemeth if he's around,
right,
or something. Like, make fun of him, and then if Dolph ever comes in, he could have that be like a reason they fight once on an episode of TV, whatever. But like, yeah, it's just not working, period. And like, at this point, the devil thing is sputtering. The big reveal is Roddy standing up. I know it's not exactly devil related, but we know it is, right? That's like the biggest reveal in weeks on this story, that he can stand, even though his neck was the one that was hurt. Anyway, like,
well, no, we can't gloss over that. That's terrible. Like, that's terrible storytelling. That's awful.
Yeah, it's just like joke storytelling, which is like fine if it is that. That's like what Roddy is in AEW. Yeah. But if you're going to have him be the second most important guy of that group, you would think, if it's not Wardlow, I guess. But like, at this point, I don't even care like how they stuff it in there. Like, I kind of want it to be MJF the whole time. Like, that's not good storytelling, but at least we can go back to him being a heel, because I don't know, like, what is he going to look like as a character when he doesn't have this title? Like, I think there's a lot of good storytelling to do, but I don't have faith that they're going to do it, that he needs to like refine himself. Like, if he's just like a dick as a babyface chasing, and he's being mean to all these people, like, then there's nothing there for anybody. And like, those segments are now not important. So I think it's definitely a big pivot moment, and I would not have said that even like 2-3 weeks ago. But like, it's taken me a long time to turn the aircraft carrier of my opinion on MJF. I was interested to see where this goes, but it has been a failure of experiment, and him being a heel is just better in the intermediate for me. But
yeah, they got to get out of this. I mean, I really think they either got to get out of it, or, and I've been saying it for weeks, like, get MJF on a chase of some kind to like build some momentum for him to win the title again. The other like just awful thing about this segment was for Adam Page. It's like, okay, is this guy a top guy in your company, or is he not one? Because if he's a top guy in your company and you're Adam Page and you walk in to the show after being off for 2 or 3 weeks, after having maybe the match of your career, like, it was a hell of a death match, 5 stars. And the first thing that happens to you is you get run down by another babyface MJF. Like, that's when you have to pull out the cards and like pull a Steve Austin and go, or pull a Hulk Hogan and go, that
don't work for me, brother.
That ain't working for me, brother. Like,
or at least let me be more. Let me push him. Let me like show like, hey, you can't talk to me like that.
Yeah, it was like, you totally lost all of anything that you had pent up in terms of like interest in Adam Page. You blew it. You blew it with that angle, and he just totally like whimpers away, and that's that. And like, it's like, dude, like, that to me, like, that show, like, I am not breaking news here, and I'm not, reporting this in any way, but it just shows to me that like Page is a show up, do what you ask, and that's it. Because there's nobody that has an investment in their character and their success would let that happen. If you're the biggest, if you're going to be, presented as a huge star on the show, it just would not happen. That would not happen to Austin or The Rock or Jericho or, Triple. I mean, none of the top guys would agree to something like that after you put your body through hell and you get over to another level. And then here you are just like, oh yeah. Oh, okay. Like you did, it just was so bad for Page. And you got to wonder like what he wants his future to be, in wrestling, because I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem like there's anything going on there at all.
Yeah, and I love the book. He's like a sneaky top 5 pick of like writing a book of this era, because like I feel like I would trust him to not be like, being a typical wrestler, being like, well, I'm great and everyone else is the problem, and here's why I was great. Please buy my book. He would be like, hey, here's what happened, with like some bias, but like I would trust his bias of what actually happened a lot of these times. So yes, I agree. And he didn't re-sign at the same time as the Bucks and Kenny, right? He signed just before that because he hasn't been injured, right? Or did he sign with them all at the same time?
I think he signed with them also, yeah.
Okay. I was trying to get that. I mean, I'm not like he would go anywhere, but yeah, I mean, what you're saying,
he's got his money.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. And that's like if you're Tony Khan too, like some of your, like he's a former champion. Like, do you just allow that to happen too? Like, I understand like some guys just have different temperament, but like you're kind of there to make a guy who can draw you money to, I mean, he gave you one of the best matches in the company's history weeks ago, like you said, and you're going to allow him to, I don't know. It's weird.
It was really bad. It was really bad. Like, I mean, it was bad for MJF, but it was worse for Paige. I mean, it really was, because at the end of the day, MJF still has the belt. He still has a major storyline going on. And I think Adam Page is wrestling just some in a random match next week. It's like, okay, like whatever, I mean, but you're not going to really go back to that. Well, like, if you want to use Adam Page as a top guy, like that's not inherently there forever. Like you have to take care of these guys. Like these are properties of AEW. Like you just can't let them go to hell. And Page really, I mean, like for as much shine as like other guys are getting, like Swerve in particular, like just, man, they're taking care of him big time.
For now.
But Adam Page is like the polar opposite right now.
Yeah, that'd be my worry as a talent in AEW. But
the
for now aspect of it. And you get that in WWE, but it feels like less justified in AEW. As we, the Britt Baker stuff, allegedly, being one of the fine people. So, but that's like a whole nother thing.
So what about these devil guys, devil worshippers, the devil himself or herself? You mentioned caring less about this than ever before. I think that's a lot of people's opinion. Can they fix this? Can they salvage it at this point? And who has to be the devil for that to work?
I mean, you can always salvage it. It's wrestling, right? It's one of the good things about the art form is that you can kind of retcon on the fly almost everything. And if it works in the long run, you can say it worked. I would say it's unlikely that it can. And who it is, I don't know. It feels like, again, I said it'd be a surprise that it's MJF at this point. So I would like that. It would get him back to that capacity, some way, shape, or form. If it's Cole, that's down the middle. If it's Jungle Boy, it doesn't feel like he's earned it. If it's Britt, we talked about last week, there's really nowhere to go from there. Like as her getting her comeuppance.
Right.
If it's Adam Page, that'd be amazing. Maybe that's why they interacted, and that gives him something to do. And he's fed up with everything. If it's Ric Flair, that's also hilarious and can make it go away for forever. And then like that's like a nod that the devil drinks woo energy or whatever.
Please be Ric Flair. That would give us a whole lot to talk about. A whole lot.
But, because there's no free agents to shock the world that it's like, oh my God, it's Brock Lesnar, right? It's John Cena. So yeah, I don't know. Like I just kind of want it to be revealed at this point. It's like if you're having, I don't have kids, you do, but let's say you had about 3 more kids and you're on your 6th kid and you had a gender reveal party. You're probably like, just pop the thing. I don't really care. I got 5 kids already. That's kind of how I feel about this devil thing in the stories. Like, I don't really care. So I don't even want, like, if it disappeared tomorrow and they didn't ever reveal it, it'd be, I guess they revealed who the Raw anonymous GM was to utter failure because they'd never added a story there. But it'd be in that category of like, yeah, I don't care. Let's just not even reveal this and go away from it.
Yeah, it'd be one of those things that people talk about forever. What if? But yeah, I'm with you. And I think it would make your life booking easier too, to not have this going on anymore. I still think that like this, if you have to pay this off, I think the smoothest way to do it is that it's Adam Cole. Like, I just think that like that's your next big match. Like that's what it is. Like that's the biggest match, one of the biggest matches you can do. Just do it. Just do it. Get it over with. Put it on Revolution, and like if he's healthy, obviously, and then move on. Because I don't. I don't know how much you could throw on here to like make it better. Like I just don't know. I just don't know. Yeah. Okay, let's pivot and we'll finish up the free show here talking about the Continental Classic. We had 3 matches yesterday on AEW Dynamite. Jon Moxley defeated Rush to remain undefeated. Mark Briscoe lost to Swerve Strickland. Briscoe is now out or eliminated. And then in the not in the main event, but in the semi-main, we had Jay Lethal lose to Jay White, and Jay Lethal is now eliminated from block or from league contention. I like these matches were all fine. Like this was like very like for me like lined up with how the tournament's been going so far. And I'd say I would like uptick it like a little bit better because you had promo time for I think almost all the guys that were in this in some form or fashion. Jay White got to cut a promo. You got to hear something for Jay Lethal. Moxley was cutting a promo too. So I think they're doing like they're slowly getting better, like building some stories into this. And even if it's not stories, just like regularly talking about the stakes of winning the tournament. So, with all the caveats that we put on this last week, horrible stakes, not big enough stars, a booking crutch for Tony Khan, all that is still there for me. But if I stipulate to all that, this is a good night for the tournament. And that's okay. I think that's solid.
Yeah. And it took out, Briscoe and Lethal are valuable in different capacities in the company, right? They're guys you want to have around to work quality matches and put guys over, right? And like them losing here, both of them works because it's not the Toru Yano like surprise win. That kind of doesn't mean anything, right? It just is like a staple of the tournament of the G1 that I don't really love. And I like that both these blocks, since we're on the positive streak, I'll take the torch from you and keep the positivity
keep it going.
I like that this block is like, hey, this is Moxley and Swerve, the final match day. Who's going to win this group, right? Is the storytelling in that group. The first block is, is Kingston going to come back from 2 losses? And, is Brody King going to lose a shocking match? Is Danielson going to lose a shocking match? And Kingston comes back and wins it or comes really close to winning it. So, at least each block has a different story going on. And I don't have to, 20 minutes you get each guy gets a point instead of 3 points, right? Is that the rule of that?
Well, for the time limit draw, yeah.
Yeah. So let's say they both are tied and draw, then what is there just extra time? I don't think they've really said that.
They haven't. Like, you mean for like one of the deciding matches?
Yeah, I mean for like Swerve and Moxley, right? That's got to be the last match of that group because they haven't laid out when each match happens, right? Beyond like, hey, this week coming up is this match, right? I just assume it's got to be the last match of that group.
How far are they? Are they? Because I think that match is next week, right?
Is it? I mean, there's only 5 matches per guy, right? Because there's 6 people in each group, and they've all wrestled 3. So it should be the last one of that group. It would be dumb if it wasn't.
Yeah,
but maybe they draw, whatever. I mean, it'd be better if like one can win with a draw, like Swerve can win with the draw, and they draw, so you can save that finish for later. Is like a smart booking decision, I think.
Yes.
But we'll see what they do. But that's interesting to see where they go. So I've liked it from that capacity. But again, I don't really want Swerve to win this whole thing. So I'd rather him draw Moxley and lose and have Moxley beat or fight Kingston or something like that, or fight Danielson and have the BCC final. Because that's like a match that they're fighting for a prize tournament, nothing personal, and they beat the crap out of each other. Like that works too as a story. So hopefully they can book Swerve to look like he got screwed over, can keep his heel stuff going. Even though, like, we got to talk, and I don't think it's good if they do this, but like the babyface reactions that Swerve is getting consistently. Like, feels like MJF 2.0, and is AEW going to learn their lesson and realize, like, Swerve, I think, can do both. But right now, I'd keep him heel and see where you can go with this thing. So, and maybe have him destroy Nana at some point to solidify that. dance over his body, like smash through the table.
The Swerve thing is really interesting for a lot of different reasons. The first one being he's just on fire right now. I mean, he's, like, I think that inarguably like the hottest thing in AEW for sure. Yeah. And he's in this tournament. And I think if you're Tony Khan, I think it's just such a hard choice. Like, I think it's a really hard choice. And it's almost like you wish you didn't put him in it because you don't want him to lose because you don't want him to lose momentum. You don't want him to lose because you want like somebody of relevance to win the first tournament, this first Continental Classic, so that you can say later that it is a launching point for talent. But man, if he wins it though, he's like firmly in the main event, in the middle of the card. Like, this does not, because the stakes are what they are, it doesn't launch him to, main event status. Like, it just puts him smack dab in the middle of the card for 3 different promotions: New Japan, AEW, and Ring of Honor. So, like, I don't know if you're pulling the trigger on that because you want to go next year. I think you want to go to Swerve and MJF or Swerve and, the Champion or Will Ospreay or somebody like that. Like, that's what you want to do, and you can't do that successfully if he's, held down by the Continental title, Triple Crown, or whatever it's called. Like that, it's going to be really, really tough. The person that I think should win this tournament is Eddie Kingston. I think. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it at this point. Like, tell, the classic. We've seen this story many times in the G1. Where the guy's down and out. He just can't possibly win all the matches straight, and then he does, and then he wins the tournament, and there you go. Like, I mean, I think that's probably the most effective way, and he's a good champion to fill that role of what you're looking to do in Japan and Ring of Honor. Like, he's there, and I don't, that says something about the tournament. I think that tells people like what the tournament is, but I think it's the safest way to go at this point.
Then you got to have Moxley lose to him. Right, because that's a callback to their title match from years ago. And Moxley's Teflon, and he'll be fine. And it'll be a hard-hitting match. You don't want White or Swerve losing to Eddie Kingston. I don't think.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't. You really don't. So,
and like what you could do too, I'm thinking like the permutations here, right? Because Jay White's in that grouping 2. He's got a loss. So let's say Moxley beats Swerve, and then Jay White beats Moxley. They would all have even points if they all went out from there. Then you'd all be tied. Maybe there'd be a 3-way match on the Collision on Friday night before the pay-per-view. Right? Is it a Saturday pay-per-view? The 30th? I don't know if top.
Yes.
Okay, so Saturday. Maybe that could be like a triple threat to see who wins that group as like an extra final thing, and that'd be a good thing to book. I'd be into that, so I'd watch the show definitely.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
And then you can have Moxley win a triple threat. It's fine.
You just need to get Swerve like out of this somehow, like without winning, but with him staying hot, and that's why you don't put him in.
Yeah, he can even be like, I don't need this. I already beat one of you. I'm not doing this again, and walk out. And then it's like a singles match, and I think that'd be that's a heel move. People paid to see you, and you're gonna walk out, but you suck. Whatever, something of that permutation. It's for sure the first draft of this story, not the final draft, but.
Yeah, and look, you want to you give it some thought for sure, but like, look, if he wins this thing, I mean, I think it. I'm on record saying like this just holds him up. Stunts his growth. It'd
be like the final bad, like of all the A and B choices, most of them have been B as in bad. When AEW's had the decision in 2023. And this would just be a good final salvo.
It's bad. It's this the thing. It's like it's good. It's a good problem, I guess, but you got to figure out your way out of it because Swerve is just hotter than this title right now. I mean, that's just the bottom line, and that's good. Yeah. That's a good thing.
It'd be like it'd be like, sorry, wrap it up. It'd be like Cody winning a similar tournament in WWE right now in this moment, like to win the Intercontinental title. Like, no, now it's just hard. Like he's just going to lose it quickly and then goes to that. Like, why even do it then, right? It's the same concept. Like Swerve and Cody are like on the same page of like, where I think the future of the main event scene of those companies are. So
that's a great comparison. Yeah, it would be. You're not putting, Cody in a tournament now to win the IC title, before, what you want to do with him at WrestleMania. It just wouldn't happen. And granted, I don't know that Tony Khan could have foreseen, hey, they're going to have this like epic death match and Swerve is going to come out super hot. And like even if you just treat it as like, this is just one of those things that you need to work your way out of, and not even a mistake by Tony Khan, but you still have to figure out your way out of it. And I hope they do this by recognizing that he needs to lose this tournament and not win. So
also, they didn't announce the field until after that pay-per-view, so that would show the rigidness of Tony Khan's booking.
Yeah, well, that would be the negative. That'd be the negative. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. All right, guys, we're gonna stop there. We have our NXT Deadline preview show. We're gonna record that next for all of our members. All of our Brass Ring Media members will get our NXT Deadline preview. If you want to become a member, you can. Patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. You get all sorts of weekly content from Tyler and myself. You get access to our Discord community. The content is both written form, audio form, and like this in video form too. So join us. Give us a chance. We will earn your business for sure. Patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. If you want to give just more of a taste of what we do for free, subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our Substack page too. We have a Substack newsletter with free content that goes up throughout the week as well. But we do appreciate the support. Thank you to all of our live listeners, Ryan, Tracy, Sean, Matt, and everybody else who joined. Thank you. Tyler, thank you. And I will see you, man, on the members only show.
Awesome. And I don't even know who the NXT champion is right now. Is it still the little guy, or is it Carmelo again?
Oh, we're going to school, my friend.
So preview. If you want to see me learn about NXT in December, because I do not watch it. So that's a good preview, I think, to give you like literally the casual fans' opinion of everybody. So check that out.
It's a valuable opinion. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.